Hi, welcome back. This is week 7. We have two major topics this time. The second part of social networks, which continues to be a really significant COT issue. And then polling, because there's so much emphasis on polling these days, I thought it'd be worth taking a good look at some of the opinions. I've already mentioned there's 3 or 4 famous examples. Eric Cantor's complete, the polling did not pick him to be a loser not too long ago in the Virginia Democratic in the election for House of Representatives. And then the 3 in Europe that took place, they miscalculated completely on the Greek referendum, and also on 2 different ones in England. One of them was the one for whether the Scotland wanted to separate, and also the one on whether Mr. Cameron would win. All those were way, way off. And it's kind of a reminder that polling, the only time you ever get a check on whether the polling is successful is when you actually have an election where you can see whether the results came out to the predictions. The rest of the time, we don't really know anything for sure about polling, and at least that's my opinion. But there are a couple of resources that are available this time that I think you'll find useful, a couple of articles. You can Google on this topic and find all sorts of opinions. Not too many opinions favoring polling methodology, and partly because of the problems of cell phones. Don't forget that we do have that example a couple of weeks ago where when you actually interview real people in a real setting, that you can get some pretty interesting, usually pretty valid results. Okay, and then those 2 are the basic themes, and these are the assignments. There's a new Pew study out, which I hope you'll use, and then link it to some of the other Pew studies on there. The Pew is a good polling group. And then 2 articles, one from the Post, I think, and the other from New York Times, about problems with polling. Take a look at that one called The Problems with Polling in One Chart. I think it might be very helpful for you. And then we've got a good interview with Robert Putnam. I think it's one that you'll find useful and also quite valid to what we're doing. The 2 Mayer tutorials, I think he's one of our professors, just an outstanding statistics person. He did this for this course some time ago, and it's very short, very succinct, but I think you're going to find it really, really helpful to understand this subject. And then my favorite of all of the TED lectures is this one by Stefana Broadbent. Professor Broadbent basically reminds us that there are some very nice sides of the internet, and she gives us a few examples of those, how the internet can, for some situations, enable intimacy as opposed to some of the other things we've been reading. Clay Shirky, another professor who's been writing and reading and commenting on this for a long time, how social media can make history. His basic point is that it has some very interesting applications, maybe beyond some of the ones you've thought about. Why Monica Lewinsky? I think you're going to be fascinated by her story. She's basically become the spokesperson for cyberbullying, which is a part of social media. I think you'll find her very brief but hugely popular. It's got over 6 million or so views. TED lecture useful. And then finally, if you have time, take a look at that one by Wahil Ghonim, because he's the one who actually facilitated, probably made possible what was referred to as the Arab Spring, that brief time 4 years ago when it looked like there was going to be some drastic change because people were using the internet to get together and express themselves politically. So I think you'll find not only the promise of that when he said it, but also the results, which have been greatly less than what the hope had been for him and his followers. Then you can find that, I think, pretty helpful. So that's it for this time. Don't forget we have 2 important dates to think about. One of them is 24th of October. We have a face-to-face session. Look forward to seeing you again then. We might not have the last one. We might not need to have the last one, so this is an important one. And also don't forget assignment 2 is due 2 days later on the 26th. Hope everything's going well with you. As always, be sure to stay in touch. Thank you. Bye.